survive in a mutilated world. The Nazis destroyed the lives of millions of people during World War II. And although many people were killed, some managed to survive and helped others to survive too. The Zookeeper's Wife is a historical narrative about how Jan and Antonina Zawinski managed to survive in a war-torn world and helped others to survive as well. The author, Diane Ackerman, incorporates her personal beliefs, the Zawinski's understanding of human and animal nature, and acts of kindness during the war to demonstrate the importance of nature to humanity. Ackerman is a poet and a naturalist, so she believes that people are much closer to nature than most of us think we are. In an interview, she says, "The minute we try to subtract ourselves from evolution, we get into trouble because we are very, very close to our origins. The main difference between humans and animals is that we have the ability to choose to act on the best of our interests and to try to subdue the worst of it." The Nazis believed that they were superior to the rest of humanity and also to nature. They thought that they could control nature, and they actively tried to. Excuse me. According to Ackerman, they set themselves up for failure because they separated themselves so much from nature. On the other hand, the Zawinskis live in harmony with nature throughout the book. They actually own a zoo, and they let animals live in their home when they're orphaned or sick so they can take care of them until they're ready to survive on their own. They also understand human and animal psychology really well. They actually talk about how Antonina has the unique ability to really understand and empathize with humans and animals alike. Since they're so close to nature, they set themselves up really well to survive, and they use their understanding of people's nature as well as animal nature to deceive the Nazis and hide Jews in their home throughout the war. The villa that they live in actually sits next to a German military zone, so it's a very exposed location and a pretty risky place to hide people if you first think about it. But Jan felt safe doing this, or relatively safe, as safe as you can feel, because he realizes that the German nature is to think that the Polish people are faint-hearted and stupid, so obviously they never expect somebody to be willing to hide Polish people, or to hide Jewish people in their home in such an exposed location. They also know that the animal nature is to camouflage and deceive other animals in order to survive. So they think about how best to camouflage the Jewish people that they do hide in their home. And they realize that the best way to camouflage people is with more people. So they keep bringing in a stream of relatives and friends who are legally allowed to come visit. So that way it's harder for the Nazis to notice if there's somebody there who probably shouldn't be. They also adhere to their own nature through their acts of kindness. The most obvious act of kindness in the book is that they're willing to save the Jewish people who come to their home, because in Poland at the time, it was punishable by death to keep Jewish people in your home. Some places you could be arrested, but in Poland you could actually be killed, as well as your family and neighbors and pretty much anybody the Nazis felt like maybe knew about what you were doing. So they took this risk on and saved the lives of over 300 people throughout the war. When they were interviewed about it, they just said that they did what anyone would have done. It was just the right thing to do. Ultimately, not everyone made this choice, but the Zawinskis are people who believe that humans naturally do the right thing and they act humanely. Throughout the book, when people are kind, or they're kind when they choose to act on their nature, and they act on their humanity rather than the worst of their nature like the Nazis did. At the end of the book, the war ends and it's a return to the state of nature. So Antonina comes back to Warsaw with her child, or her children at that point, and she describes it as a wilderness of ruins, but their walls of their villa are still standing. Her son says, "Look, Mom, our villa survived," but it's actually just the walls. I took this to mean that since they live so in tune with nature and they are so close with it, that their house didn't need to be completely destroyed because they're already close to nature. On the other hand, the Nazis built a preserve that they intended to be a hunting ground, and now it's the complete opposite. It's illegal to hunt there or even to speak above a whisper whenever you're there, because they have a lot of endangered animals there. And so it's a beautiful nature preserve that symbolizes the idea that even though the Nazis believed they were in control of nature and superior to it, ultimately nature prevails over the human choices in the end. Ackerman uses her background, the Zabinski's understanding of nature, acts of humanity, and the ultimate return to a state of nature to show that humans are not independent from or in control of nature. The culminating point of the book is that the best way to survive in a world mutilated by humans is to understand and live in harmony with nature.